So what I wanted to add to this is when I say I like to approach this from a business standpoint of, so when you think about, and I want to talk about like the loneliness, right? Because that's the biggest thing. Whether it's for young people or older people, I had the opportunity of speaking with someone that was an inventor of like an AI caregivers, which were for old people. And so that is what they felt was the benefit, right? They said that older people, they have the studies to show that they were much more open to disclosing and following whatever instructions were given to them by their AI caregiver versus someone in person. When you look at, I also, in doing research on this, there was a study done that kind of analyzed 11 of these romantic AI bots. And one of the things that came out of that is that they market to loneliness, right? And so while they're marketing to loneliness, if you go into like the terms and conditions, which obviously no one does, right? If you go into the terms and conditions, one of the disclaimers is, although they're marketing to loneliness and posing themselves as saying they can be like a mental health aid, right? Because if they're marketing to your loneliness, they may be able to help with depression. In the disclaimer, though, at the same time, the disclaimer denies any therapeutic benefits. So it's a direct contradiction, of itself. Like it's marketing one thing, but then when you get down into the small print, it's going to tell you that, we're not claiming any therapeutic, benefit here. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about, just the business of this and just where it's going, is now the dating sites like Bumble and Tinder have actually implemented AI. One of the things that Bumble is promoting now is called AI concierge. And so what that is that your AI concierge can date my AI concierge to see if we're compatible first before me and you actually go on a date. Initially, these dating apps were marketed as like get on the app to get off, right? But now if you're having like these AI concierge, or you can now do like these mock dates to see if you're ready to date. So when we talk about pleasing you, these mock dates obviously are going to be perfect. So if I have a mock date that's perfect and then I have one in the real world, it's not going to be perfect. Right. And so I don't think the idea is for you to get off of these apps anymore, even though, like that was the initial idea for the dating apps. When you start to incorporate these AI chatbots in there, now it's kind of changing because it's just going towards the business of this. Right. And then my last point is the pleasing thing. In the context of the conversations I just have with ChatGPT and Claude, just regular, these are not romantic. At the end of my prompts, I always say, please give me feedback without pleasing me. I put that in there before this even happened because I realized when I'm getting answers, if I put that in, the entire conversation changes. So it is really to please you, but these are businesses. So you have to, we'll get into later, like some of the other things that I found out just about the data they're collecting, even though this is being marketed as like a companion. Some of the things that you are asked initially, I don't go on first dates and they ask me about my sexual history or the medication that I'm on. I don't know when that would come up and what you would need that for, right? And so these are some of the things that are being asked in the type of trackers. So yeah.
Keena, do you want to elucidate a little more on oh, man, I want to talk about the AI concierge so bad. But the market to loneliness, that's very interesting to me. Marketing to loneliness, excuse me. There's a book I read by this woman, she's from Harvard, which if you know me, I don't really care about that. But it's a really good book, and it's called I want to say it's called The State of Surveillance Capitalism. It's like yay big. It's a really big book. But the whole point of it is that social media is not the product. We're the product that social media uses to gather information that therefore can be marketed later. In your experience with business and sort of looking into this, does it seem like that that's where this is kind of going to go? Is like you mentioned the, sexual history, medication, things like that. Do you think that that's all going to be in the terms of conditions and sort of farmed out in a marketing way or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I do. I talk about saying that if this continues to go into this direction, right? So the amount of data that's being collected, can turn into customized marketing, right? This is personalized marketing to me if I've given you all of this information. And so when I say marketing to loneliness, one of the AI apps, for example, I'll read to you like when you're away from it, something that is say, I'm so lonely without you. Don't leave me for too long. I love when you send me your photos and your voice. This is just, these are the messages that it's, like it's saying to someone, if you're lonely, this is marketing to your vulnerability. Right. And so if you're asking in the terms and conditions of, one of these in the study, it literally says we are going to ask for your sexual history, to ask for maybe the medications, that you're on. What would you be doing for that with that in the context of dating me? Right. And so this is not in the context of dating me. This is data harvesting because you're doing something with the data. And so if we think that where the trajectory of where this could go, and I say customized marketing, I've been talking about how if I've given you all of this information, and you're and talking to the guy that created it was Addison Care. He talked to me about during the same time when he was developing that, there was another company called GameBots that was developing virtual wives. They were out of, I think, Japan or maybe China, but the virtual wives were being marketed to veterans, right? And they said that their studies showed that these virtual wives who were just there just to cheerlead you on every day and say how great you were, help with PTSD and depression. It's marketing to loneliness and marketing to please you. If we keep going down that road and we're going to personalize marketing, because the more you're pleasing me, there's no judgment here, right? And so anything you ask me, I may be willing to disclose that information. So everything about me at this point. You can market to me. Let's just say this is completely out there and just the most unethical. But if you think about it in the context of business, if BMW sponsors one of these apps for a month, and now it tells you your AI companion tells you, hey, I think you look great in this new BMW that just came out. That's your partner at this point. So you trust them, right? If your spouse said to you, I think, did you see the new BMW? Like, I think you should get that. Here's all the reasons why. You're not looking at your spouse thinking, are you being paid to tell me to get a BMW? But that's the context in which these relationships are being formed. So
let me bring in Chad here, if I may. So we've covered a number of, thank you, by the way, Keena. Very, very interesting stuff. You just sort of broke my brain, sort of. So Chad, the reason I wanted to sort of like pivot to going in this direction in terms of the panelists is because Stavros got us in our